Good morning. Almost 8 o'clock. Hopefully, we'll have a couple people join us in the next few minutes here, and we'll get started. Good morning, good morning. And if nobody joins us, we'll just talk into the camera and post it later, so you can watch this anytime. Good morning. Welcome to the video. Welcome to the live. I wish I knew who was in these lives. They don't show me whose name is here. They just show me that there's one person watching. But to whoever's watching, thank you for joining. See if a few more people join in a few minutes here. Oh, there we go. Georgette. Good morning, Georgette. How are you? Hope you're doing well. All right, 8 o'clock. So as promised, here we go. We're going to start talking about offers today. Strong offers versus weak offers. It is Friday. We're going into the weekend. Maybe you're thinking about doing a little house hunting, and maybe you're ready to make an offer, or you're thinking about making an offer on a home, but you don't know necessarily what your offer should look like. Is it going to be a competitive offer? Is it going to be strong? Or is it going to get tossed in the trash? So before talking about offers, what I want to do is I want to talk about, well, let me just introduce myself. For anybody who's unfamiliar, let me start with that. So my name's Phil Devin, born and raised in New York, living in Louisiana, and I am currently a real estate broker and the owner of Goodwood Realty. Been practicing real estate for over a decade. And I do this just to share my knowledge with others. So people who know me know that I spend most of my time teaching, coaching, and doing this kind of stuff. So I figured why not, put some videos to it. So decided this month to start a little video series. I do have some YouTube videos as well. You can find me. My name on YouTube is That Good Agent, or you can visit thatgoodagent.com to get all my links for Instagram, YouTube, etc. So now let's dive into it. Let's talk for a moment about, or imagine for a moment, that there are two fighters in a ring, okay? Boxers or wrestlers or whatever kind of fighting you like. Maybe you hate fighting. But just imagine that you're looking at two fighters, okay? Now, one of them stands at 6'6", big guy. The other one is standing there at, let's say, 5'6", okay? A little bit smaller. Now, who are you betting on? Which fighter are you betting on? Are you betting on the guy that's a foot taller, that's maybe 50 pounds heavier? Probably. But is that guy going to win? We really have no idea, because there's way too many other factors involved in who's going to come out on top in that fight, right? Size is a factor, sure, we know that. I mean, that's why we have weight classes. Juan, welcome to the video. Good morning. So we know that the bigger fighter does have an advantage. Maybe strength, size, but remember that size is not the only factor. There's skill, right? Where have these fighters trained? Who trained them? There's experience. How many fights have they been in? There is focus, motivation, right? Is this guy fighting for his life over here? What kind of fight is it? Is it a boxing match, or is it someone getting attacked in the street? Is it what's their focus like? Is the big guy kind of taking it casually, relaxing? Endurance, right? Is one of them going to run out of breath sooner? Does he have the stamina to keep up with the other guy? Chin, right? Can he take a punch? Maybe you might be big, but what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, right? Anyway, the point is, we really don't know who is the better fighter or who's going to win, because there's more factors. There are more factors than just size. So we do know that the bigger guy is not always going to be the winner. So similarly, when we talk about offers on real estate, we tend to think that the higher the offer, the better. Okay, yeah, to some degree that's true. That's true. Higher offers do have an advantage, but remember, the highest offer is not always the best offer. You can have a high offer that's still weak, right? So one thing about offers that we have to understand is that there's a lot of competition out there on the market. So if you know all the different factors that go into making an offer, that's going to give you an edge, right? The first thing that you really want to know, and this is where having a skilled negotiator comes into play. And there's a lot of real estate agents out there who claim, oh yeah, I'm a great negotiator, I got my client this deal or that deal or whatever the case may be. Getting your client a good deal does not make you a skilled negotiator. Now, getting them a bad deal might make you a bad negotiator, but sometimes you can fall backwards into a good deal too. So it doesn't mean that you're a skilled negotiator. So you do want to see or inquire as to the agent's negotiation skills or your own negotiation skills. If you're going to buy a house, why not take a little time, go to the library, borrow a book on how to negotiate, read it, and then go buy a house. I mean, it's certainly not going to hurt you, right? So part of negotiation isn't just throwing out offers and saying, hey, well, I'll offer you 5. Well, they come back with 20. Well, I'll offer you 6, and they come back with 19. That's not negotiation. That's just throwing stuff out there and seeing what people will take. A good negotiator actually is going to, first of all, do some intel, some espionage. They're going to try to learn what matters to the other side. Shanika, good morning. Wow, I'm getting calls. It's 8 o'clock. The calls start early today. So a good negotiator is going to try to determine what matters to the other side. So we have to start with the seller's motivations. If we want to know what makes a good offer, how can we make a strong offer? Let's start with what motivates that seller, because the seller is going to be the one to accept, reject, or counter or deny that offer, right? So there are a number of different motivations that a seller might have. One is money, obviously. Every seller is motivated by money. Of course, I mean, the $1 million offer is usually going to beat the $100 offer, every time. So money is a big one. There's no doubt. That's like size when you're in the ring as a fighter, right? That's a big factor. We're not ignoring that factor. But some of the other factors are speed. What if you run into a seller that needs the money? Let's say that they're in a financial struggle, they're in a bind, they need this money and they need it now, as fast as possible. Well, speed becomes a factor, sometimes even more important than money, because if I say, well, I'll give you 10,000 more, but I can close in 60 to 90 days, and you're like, look, I'm going to give you 10,000 less, but I can close in 10 days. They might say, hey, look, I need that money in 10 days. I can't wait 60 days. So speed could be a factor. Security could be a factor. What do I mean by that? How strong is that offer? How sure am I that this person is actually going to buy the house? They're not going to back out. This offer is not going to fall apart on me, and then I'm going to have to start over and try to find another buyer. So security is an important factor. Who is interested in security? Well, that would be a seller who maybe needs the money for a specific reason, right? It's not that they need it fast. I'll give you an example. I had a client who borrowed some money. They were flipping a house. Okay, so this is an investor. They borrowed some money to finish the job. Good morning, Alicia. Welcome to the video. So they borrowed money to finish the job to the tune of $50,000. And they had 6 months to pay on that $50,000 before they started facing penalties. So it's not that speed necessarily was a huge factor, because they had 6 months to close. It wouldn't matter if it was 5 months or 4 months. That made no difference. But what was important was security. Whatever buyer they went with had to close that loan before 6 months. What they didn't want was to go to 5 months and then find out the buyer changed their mind. So that's a big factor too. So we've got money, we've got speed, we've got security. Here's another example of someone who might be interested more in security, meaning how sure is this offer going to close, than say money or even speed. Maybe someone's buying another house and they're depending on the sale of their house in order to buy the house that they're trying to buy. So they have a house in escrow or under contract, and they're like, well, as long as I can close my house by this time, I can go get the house I want. But if I can't, the other seller's not going to wait. They're not going to wait for me if I need an extension. So I need to be able to know that I'm 100% going to close this deal. Of course, nothing's 100% in real estate, but some offers are more secure than others. How can we show that? Another motivator for sellers might be personal. Maybe there's a sentimental factor to this house. Maybe they built it with their own 2 hands. There are some people out there, I know a lot of people. This is Louisiana. Everybody knows how to work with their hands here, except me, right? But maybe they built that house from the ground up. Maybe that was their first house They got married. That was the first house they ever bought. Maybe it was their parents' house. Danette, good morning. Welcome to the video. So maybe it was their parents' house. Maybe it was their personal house. Maybe their children were born and raised in that house. What does that have to do with anything? Well, now we've got some sentimental factors behind this house, right? Maybe they want to say, well, I want this home to go to some people who are really going to love the home the way I love the home. I don't want to sell it to some guy who's just going to knock it down and build a condo. That would hurt. That would hurt my feelings. So there can be sentimental factors for the seller. There can be altruistic factors for the seller, right? Maybe the seller is just a person who says, you know, someone a long time ago gave me a chance to buy this home, and I didn't have much money, and I wasn't the best offer, and they gave me that opportunity, and it changed my life. Homeownership changed my life, and I want to do that for the next person. So maybe they're looking to really help somebody. They have altruistic motivations. Maybe it's religious. Maybe they're trying to, please God and say, I want to really do a good deed here. So I want to find somebody who really needs this home, who may not have another shot. Maybe it's not the highest offer, but I'll feel good at the end of the day. And for the rest of my life, I'll feel good knowing that I helped that person. So going back to motivations of sellers, money is not the only motivator. There's money, there's speed, there's security, there's personal reasons, sentimental reasons, there's altruistic reasons. So as a negotiator, you or your agent should be trying to uncover why this person is selling the home. What is their motivation? And that can be as simple as asking the question, hey, why are they selling this beautiful place? What's their purpose? Are they moving? Are they... Now, if the agent on the other side is any good, they may not want to reveal those motivations. They might realize, hey, this person's trying to understand our motivations and use that against us, and I'm not going to reveal anything to you. But guess what? A lot of agents out there are not trained negotiators. I would guess that the great majority of agents are not trained negotiators. And it's very likely they might let something slip. And if they do, well, now you know something about that seller that you can use to create an offer that will appeal to them, right? So your agent can ask a simple question. So why are they selling this place? Maybe they're not represented. Maybe they don't even have an agent. Maybe it's just someone selling the home on their own. And they just answer the question, well, we're selling because, grandma's sick and we're going to be moving across the country to go and be closer to family. Okay. Well, again, that might reveal something about their motivation. Not only that, you might even be able to build rapport with the person if you're meeting them face to face and say, oh yeah, my grandma, she's sick too. And, she actually lives in this area here. And we're trying to move closer here to take care of her. I'm not saying lie. That's not what I'm saying. But my point is, if you have something in common, or if you can build rapport in some sort of way, that's certainly not going to hurt you. Sometimes you might want to even accidentally tip your hand, right? So sometimes you want to keep things close to the vest. Sometimes you don't want to reveal any information, but sometimes you do. And maybe by accidentally revealing certain information, you can sort of inform the seller that you are the type of buyer that they want. Okay. Now, first of all, not all home sales are bidding wars. I know today in the market that we're in, and for reference, this is July 2nd, 2021. In this market, we know it's a hot market, it's a seller's market, but even in this market, there are still some homes that sit on the market. Some sellers are struggling out there to sell their homes. So on the other end of the spectrum, beside knowing their motivation, what we want to know is something called their BATNA, B-A-T-N-A. That stands for Best Alternative to Negotiated Agreement. Their BATNA, right? So really the question becomes, well, if they don't sell, what is their next best option? If they don't sell to me, what is their next option? Is there another buyer out there who's going to give them almost as much, less, more? Are they going to have to resort to getting foreclosed on? What is their next best option? By knowing that, you also know how strong of an offer you need. You might not need to make a super high, strong offer. You might be able to make a fairly weak offer and still get the home. That's now getting into more negotiation than how to build strong offers. And this video today is about how to make a strong offer, not how to negotiate. Good morning, T. Barbara. How are you? Welcome to the video. Right? This video is not about negotiation. It's about how to make a strong offer. But, negotiating and offers are very, very closely tied together. So you do want to know their best alternative to negotiated agreement. How do we find that out? A good agent might ask, well, would they consider renting the house? That can be an informative question. They might say, no, they're not considering renting. Well, that means they have to sell. We know that. So maybe their position is not as strong. And it's not that you have any desire to rent the house. It's just asking certain questions, having a trained negotiator as your agent, asking certain questions to the other party to find out their motivations, to find out their best alternative. Because if you're the best thing they've got, chances are they're going to actually end up taking your offer. Right? And in certain cases, you don't want to tip your hand. Maybe you don't want to tell them how high you can go. So there's certain times to reveal information and certain times to keep it close to the vest. So the last thing you want to do, good morning, Samantha. Samantha wants to know if we're located in Louisiana. Yes, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The company is called Goodwood Realty, and we have 31 or 32 great agents who are ready to help you. So feel free to reach out to me. You can visit my website, thatgoodagent.com, and do a property search. So going back to negotiations and offers. So being a skilled negotiator is about more than just offers. It's about intel. It's about understanding what's going on the other side. What's their motivation? Make sure to read all the information that's provided. Sometimes sellers provide information online for you, and you want to read through that. Things we love about the home, or here's a property disclosure. Read everything, because that might give you some information or some clues as to what those sellers' motivations are. So now that we can come from a place of strength. I know what you want. And now all I have to do is show you that I have what you want. So that gives us leverage when we're making an offer. Okay, the last thing you want to do is put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes and try to imagine how the offer is going to be received. So now let's talk about the actual different clauses that we can use to make our offer strong. Now that we've talked about their motivations and understanding that we can't skip that part. We have to know about the seller as much as possible before we even know what a good offer looks like. Let's talk about the different clauses we can use. Good morning, T. Barbara. Thank you. I'm glad you could tune in as well. So the first motivation obviously is money. Money's the number one, and we always start with that because that's usually going to win. Usually, not always. So obviously price, that's an easy one. Everyone knows that, right? The higher you go, the more chance you'll have to get the property. Of course, you can go low. Again, you can use a low price, but that's going to be a different video. That's a video about negotiation. This is about how to make a strong offer. So I'm not going to get into that. Aside from price, what else can mean more money for that seller? Maybe items in the home, property that they have. Is there something that you can exclude from the deal? Good morning, Shanika. Welcome. Is there something that you can exclude from that purchase? Can you say, hey, well, I don't need the refrigerator. I don't need your stove. I don't need the blinds. I don't need the mirrors in the bathroom. You can keep all that stuff. It may not be much, but hey, all that stuff has value. They might go ahead and sell it or bring it with them, save money bringing it with them to the next place. So by leaving certain items for the seller, that could be a way to put more money in their pocket and give you just a little bit of edge. Now, one small warning is don't give away something that is going to affect your financing. So if you're getting a loan, part of the requirements of the loan might be that the home needs to have a stove in it. So don't give the stove away and then you can't get the house. So you want to talk to your lender before you do anything like that. Another money-motivated clause is, of course, the closing costs, right? If you're asking for less, some people are asking for the sellers to pay their closing costs for them. Well, I mean, it's nice that a seller can pay your closing costs, but remember, that hurts their bottom line. That takes money out of their pocket when they help you with your closing costs. So if you keep those as low as possible, then you can help a money-motivated seller to choose your offer. You can ask for less frivolous items. So don't ask for the home warranty. Don't ask for the termite inspection. Don't ask for some of these little extras that a lot of people throw into contracts. And again, it might make all the difference in the world. Home warranty could be $600. What seller doesn't want an extra $600, right? And so there are a lot of different clauses you can use to, in essence, contribute to the seller's bottom line. But of course, having the most money always helps too. Let's talk about what if their motivation is speed? What if they need to hurry up? Well, of course, if you have a cash offer, you're already ahead of the game because cash typically can close the fastest. Now, some people have cash, but they can't access the cash right away. Maybe it's locked up in a 401k or some other sort of work-related program, and they've got to take a little time to get to that cash. But cash might not always be king, right? So what if you're getting a loan, and let's just assume for a moment that you're not competing with a cash buyer, because cash buyers, again, that's a whole different animal. That's hard to beat. I'm not gonna lie. If somebody has cash, I'm probably taking that offer too, right? Welcome to the video, Christina. Christina's another great realtor here in Louisiana. So cash is the fastest, but let's pretend now that we're competing with other financed offers. How can we make our offer the fastest? How can we make ours the speediest? And how can we communicate that to the seller? Well, it starts with being fully prepared to buy. You definitely want to have your loan pre-approved. If you're not even pre-approved and you make an offer, that's going to be a slow offer. They're going to say, this thing's going to take forever. This person has not even gone to the bank yet, right? Not only can you be pre-approved, but some lenders will actually pre-underwrite the loan, meaning they're going to see that loan pretty much from start to finish and say, okay, this person's all the way, this person's approved all the way. They've gone through underwriting. The only thing we're missing is the house now. Now, here's the key. The lender needs to put that in writing for you on your letter. So there are pre-approval letters. We look at the strength of the pre-approval letters. As an agent, I always look at the strength of the pre-approval letter. If I have two pre-approval letters and one says that it's based on the sellers verbally relaying the information about their income and their assets, the other one says that we've already collected all their information in writing and we've run it through a pre-underwriting program, I know this offer is going to close faster. I know they're really serious about buying. So, where was I? So nonetheless, that pre-approval letter matters to your speed. So you want to be fully ready. Some other ways you can affect the speed of the deal, how quickly you can close, is you can lower certain time frames within that offer. So typically there's a time period for you to inspect the property. A lot of times after your inspection, the buyer will order the appraisal. Then it'll say, well, if the appraisal comes in low, you have a certain amount of days to get that information back to the seller, back and forth. So there are all these little time clauses. All you have to do is shorten them. Instead of a 10-day inspection period, why not make it a 5-day inspection period? Or let's take that a step further. Let's go to that little section on the offer that's blank, that lets you write in whatever you want to write in. And let's go ahead and say inspection and appraisal to be ordered within 24 hours of acceptance. Boom, you just blew the seller's mind, because now they're like, okay, well, this thing's going to move really fast because in a week, I'll have the inspection and the appraisal done. This file will be off to underwriting. This is the kind of deal that can close in potentially 2 to 3 weeks or less. I've seen deals close in as little as 10 days when people are ready to go. You can agree to close within a certain amount of time after you are cleared to close, because we have to write dates on the closing dates on the contracts or on the offers when we make the offers, right? And we can say, oh, we're going to close in 60 days. But what we can do in that little blank space is say, if we are cleared to close, if we are ready to close sooner than that, we will close within 24 hours of being clear to close. That can be a clause that you can write right into the offer. This seller now knows that you're willing to close as fast as possible. You can actually waive the inspection period, meaning I'm not going to do an inspection. Well, that just shortened the whole process by maybe 10 days, right? Now, you don't always want to do that. Of course, we may not recommend doing that, but with a strong realtor, with a strong agent who knows what they're doing, you might be able to do that without risking too much. Okay? Faster response times. Instead of saying I'll reply to a low appraisal in 3 days, I'll reply in 6 hours. Hey, Bridget, good morning. Bridget's one of our agents at Goodwood Realty. Actually, one of our top agents, month after month. Every month she's on the top list. Welcome to the video. Here's another thing. Not needing to use any additional programs. Sometimes we look for down payment assistance. Sometimes we look for some other type of programs that are going to assist us with the home purchase. Well, if we're not using those, that's going to go faster. So, for instance, we have what's called a rural development loan. Well, that can take an extra 4 to 5 days to go and be approved So if we can go with a conventional loan, which does not use those 4 or 5 extra days, that might be the difference in getting your offer accepted by a seller who is motivated by speed. Remember, who's motivated by speed? That's going to be someone who needs the money for whatever reason, for whatever purpose. They're in a financial struggle, and they've got to get this money as fast as possible. Also, here's another underrated factor when it comes to speed. The agent and the lender matter. Understand that real estate is a community. I can rattle off hundreds of agents off the top of my head because I work with these people every day. There's a lot of lenders out there that I'm familiar with as well. So just like I can do that, a lot of these other agents can do that too. Other experienced agents can do that too. And guess what they're doing? They're not only comparing the pre-approvals, not only comparing the offers, they're comparing the professionals behind those offers and pre-approvals. Without naming any names, I'm in real estate Facebook groups and they say, well, anyone ever heard of this lender before? Anyone ever hear of that lender before? And most of us, we just sit back and we just get our popcorn and start eating it because we know what's about to come. It's about to be, the floodgates are going to open and everyone's going to say how bad that lender is, how terrible this person is. Don't work with them. This deal, they never close deals. They're always asking for extensions. So if you don't know, if you don't have a strong agent who's in tune with the community and who has a great reputation, you might end up with one of those lenders. Do you want to present your offer with the worst lender in town? Do you think that's going to be an offer that gets accepted or that's going to move quickly? Is the seller going to perceive that as moving quickly? Their agent's going to be like, you know what? If you take this offer, this thing's going to last three months. It's not going to close in 30 days. I know it says 30 days, but it's not going to close in 30 days. So your lender matters. Your agent matters. Someone with a good reputation, a reputation for professionalism, who always answers their phone. Guess what? If they're not answering the phone for you, do you think that they're answering the phone for the other agent? Do you think that they're answering the phone for the lender? Do you think that they're answering the phone for the title company or anyone else? And what happens? That's going to cause delays. You will not close quickly. So having an agent and a lender with a reputation for speed will also affect the strength of your offer in the eyes of the seller. Let's talk about the third motivation. We talked about money, we talked about speed. Remember, some sellers are motivated by security. Just as a recap, who's motivated by security? And what does that even mean? It means someone motivated by saying this deal definitely is going to close. There's 100% chance this deal is going to close. So people who are motivated by security are people who have something riding on this deal. I'm buying a house. I need to sell my house in order to buy the house I want to buy. So I need you to close this deal. This cannot fall through the cracks. This cannot fail. Or I've got to pay off this debt. I have a mortgage. There's a balloon payment coming up on this day, and I've got to pay it by that day. Now, if you close faster, great. I don't care if you close faster or if you close the same day, but it has to close. What I care about is that it doesn't fall apart because then I got to start over, and then I'm going to pass my timeline. So having a good agent and lender, again, contributes to the security factor. How sure is this deal going to close? If this agent has a reputation for working with buyers who are really not prepared and just taking any and everybody and just making offers all over town and not closing deals, that might affect your offer if the agent on the other side is familiar with the person. They say, I don't trust this agent. I don't trust their offers. They're not good offers. Same thing with the lender. So that contributes to how secure your offer looks. Another factor is the deposit. So what is the deposit? Well, in certain states it's called earnest money. In Louisiana, we don't technically do earnest money unless we specify it. But typically, and so this isn't the full scope of it. That would take a lot of time. But typically the deposit is the money that you're going to leave behind for the seller if you don't close the deal. So if you're putting down a deposit of $50, is that easy to walk away from? Yeah, I mean, if I find a house that I like better, yeah, of course I'm going to walk away from $50. I mean, that's a dinner. That's not that much money. But if my deposit is $2,500 and I find another house I like, am I going to walk away from $2,500? That's going to be a lot harder to do. $5,000? That's going to be a lot harder to do. Because I need money, right? I need money to pay my down payment, maybe pay furniture, maybe. So I don't want to lose $2,500 when I'm buying a house and I've got all these other expenses, right? On the other hand, when you close the deal, you get that deposit back. So what you're saying by putting in this very strong deposit is, I expect to get that money back. So a big deposit says, I'm definitely going to buy this house. Because I don't want to walk away from $2,500. I don't want to walk away from even $1,000. Whereas a small deposit says, I might flake. I might move on. So if you can put more money as a deposit. Now, it's different from a down payment. Remember, deposit and down payment are different. Talk to an agent. If you're not sure of these things, you probably shouldn't be buying a house by yourself. You probably need a real estate agent. But a nice, strong deposit, large deposit, will make your offer seem very secure. It's definitely going to close. Strong pre-approval letter, we talked about that as well. A pre-approval letter that says everything's been checked, meaning do your due diligence before you go shopping. Make sure that your pre-approval is strong. The lender has written that they've checked all your paperwork, that they've put it through an underwriting program, and that you are 100% good to go as long as nothing changes. Maybe even a bank statement, right? Your offer might be contingent on the fact that you can pay a down payment. Not all loans give you 100% of them. In fact, most loans do not give you 100% of the purchase price. A lot of loans, even an FHA loan, requires 3.5% down. Good morning, Tandra. Tandra's another one of our awesome agents at Goodwood Realty. Welcome to the video. So 3.5% down could easily be $7,000 on a $200,000 house, right? $300,000 house, what's 3.5% down? We're now talking about $10,500. So while the other side may see the fact that you're pre-approved, they may not know that you have the deposit and the closing costs ready, that you can pay those things. Well, if you want to give yourself an edge, you can submit a bank statement. Here you go. So you know I've got the money too. I've got the 10-5 right there. Here's a bank statement for. I'm gonna cross out my my bank account number and any personal information, but I'll leave my name on there, and you can see how much is in that account. So you know I can close. Right? We submit bank statements with cash offers. Why can't we do that with a loan? Maybe some information regarding your credit score, right? You can say, hey, look, here's my credit score. It's a 750. It's not a 580. Where 580 is like, we may or may not close. If I'm at a 750, I'm probably going to close this thing. There's a very small chance that my credit will drop way below where it needs to drop before we reach the closing table. Understand that credit is still going up and down, and the lender's still checking that during the process. So they may have checked the credit, and if you were just making it, but you missed a payment on something, by the time you get to the closing table, that deal might fall apart because your credit dropped. Good morning, T. Deborah. This is more family. Family's in the video. I love it. I love to see it. So your credit score might be something that you want to actually submit to show, hey, this is a solid offer. Here's an underrated factor. How enthusiastic is your offer? I'll tell you a quick story. I had a seller who received an offer on a property, and we made a counter offer to that person. And while we were in that counter offer period, another offer came in on the property. Now here's what happened. The buyers who received the counter offer, they wanted to go back and look at the house again before they made their final decision, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The other people were like, look, we're going to make our best offer, highest and best off the bat from day one. Here we go. So we didn't have to negotiate with these other people. They were like, we got a great offer. Well, the first buyer did not sign their counter offer in time. They went back, they looked at the house, they brought their mom, they brought their dad, whatever it was, and then they came back and said, okay, now we're ready to move forward with this. Well, guess what? The seller said, we're not doing that. The fact that you're kind of waffling and going back and forth, do I want it? Do I not want it? I'm not sure. Do I like it? What does mama think? What does grandma think? That tells the seller you're not really a secure offer. You're not a super solid buyer. Just like you might change, just like you're not sure in the beginning, you might go a week later and still be not sure, and then change your mind and then walk away and say, you know what? We decided that's not the house for us. Well, now guess what? The seller's left holding the bag. They just lost a week. Right? And now they may not be able to close in time to buy their house or to pay off their loan or whatever the case may be. So if your offer comes in fast, enthusiastic, I love this house. Now this is where we talk about spilling the beans accidentally, right? A lot of times we don't want to let the sellers know, hey, I'm in love with your house, because we think, well, now we're gonna have to pay more because they know we like it. But sometimes you might want to use that to your advantage and say, hey, I love this house. This is I'm making my best offer. It's the best offer I can make, but we really love this house. We want it. Our offer's coming in within seconds. In fact, before we even leave the house, we're going to have the agent call your agent and say, hey, look, we're going to be making an offer. We love the house. Please do not take any other offers until you get our offer. We'll have our offer in within the next hour to you. So that's telling the seller, wow, these people, they really want this thing. They're going to close the deal. They're not still looking for other houses. This other person who's like, I don't know, they're probably still looking at other houses. Even after they have a contract, they might still be online browsing Zillow and saying, I don't know, let me see if this is really the house I want. So that's not a very secure offer. So our attitude and the way we act and the way we behave as buyers and as agents can really tell the seller if this is a secure deal or not. Let's talk about the next motivator. We've got money, speed, we've got security. What about sentimental? Right? We mentioned that there might be sentimental motivators for that seller. The seller might say, hey, look, this is my grandfather's house, and he left it for my dad, and my dad, he just passed, and he left it to me. And, I already have a house. We can't move there, but now I've got this house. This is my childhood home. There are sentimental factors there. So do you want to sell that? Do you want to go in there and tell that seller, hey, I can't wait to buy this place so I can knock it down and build the house I really want to build? They might not want to sell it to you. So remember we talked about that enthusiastic, fast offer? That's another good reason, or that's another good motivator for a sentimental seller. They say, wow, these people really love this house. That offer came in quick. That agent called up and said, hey, we're making an offer. We want it. We love it. I want to sell it to that person because I want someone to love the house that I grew up in. I want someone to love the house that belonged to my father. I want somebody who they want to live there and spend the rest of their life there too. I want it to be a family home. These things do motivate people. There are sentimental reasons. People are emotional. Here's a trick you can use. And again, we talked, just for those who are just joining the video, we talked earlier about your agent finding out these motivations. A good negotiator finds out motivations before even looking at the house, before even making the offer, because then you know what you're dealing with and you know how to appeal to the seller. So you found this offer online. The agent may have found out that, hey, this was a family home, or this was the home that the seller had been living in for a long time, and their kids just graduated, and now they're downsizing because they're empty nesters. And you say, wow, there's a lot of sentimental value in this home. Well, here's what you can do. You can spill the beans. Again, we talk about, strategically letting certain information out. So sometimes we go to homes, there's cameras in the homes. A lot of times buyers go, oh, there's cameras, don't say anything, don't say anything. Maybe you should say something. Maybe they are listening on the other side of that camera. Maybe you want to spill certain beans. Maybe you want to say, you know what? Little Johnny and little Billy, they're going to love this place. I can imagine them playing, and that's going to be their playroom over there. And the seller's listening and says, wow, I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that. That's the buyer I want. I want someone to love the home, and they're going to live in it for many years and grow up in the home just like I did, just like my kids did. That's why I want to buy this home. I don't want to sell it to an investor who's going to just tear it up, right? You might compliment the home in the feedback. A lot of times when we show homes as agents, we leave feedback for the other agents. Maybe leave some strategic compliments to the other side. Beautiful home, love the way it's decorated, etc., etc., etc. We want to let the sellers know how we feel about the house. That's a sentimental seller. If they know we are in love with the house, we're the kind of buyer they're looking for. If the seller is not represented, if the seller, let's say, is someone that we're talking to directly, well, maybe we want to see if there's any personal connections to the seller. Oh, where did your dad go to school? Did he go around here? Did your kids go to school around? My kids go to the same school. We're looking at when we start our family, we want our kids to go to that school too. So building rapport, building connections as well can be a big factor with your sentimental buyers. Let's talk about the last motivator we mentioned earlier, altruism. Someone who wants to do good. They want to be good. They want to do good. They want to, look themselves in the mirror or live the rest of their life saying, I did something really good for someone. I'm an altruistic person. I'm a philanthropic person, and I'm pleasing, whoever I'm worshiping. They want to please whoever they're worshiping. They want to do something that's really nice. Well, how can we show that person that we are the buyer they're looking for? Right? First of all, we might want to say this is our best offer. We're leading with the very best offer. Even though our offer is not high, we love the home and this is the very best we can do. Because if we're playing games and we're trying to move back and forth, maybe we don't need it that bad. Maybe we don't need that house that bad, right? Again, we want to spill the beans. We want to maybe divulge, why do we want this house? Why is this so important to us? It's important to us because I'll be the first homeowner in my family. It's important to me because my grandma lives down the street and I want to be close to her. And our family has, my family grew up in this neighborhood, and this is going to be my first home ever. And I've really struggled to get myself to a place where I could finally afford a home, and this is the home for us. And we love the schools for our kids. We just wanted our kids to get into this nice neighborhood and to be away from the rough neighborhood that we grew up in. These things might really pull at the heartstrings of your altruistic seller. In some places, a love letter, quote unquote, might even be appropriate. We write a letter saying, well, this is my situation. These are the struggles I've faced. And this is why this home means so much to me and to my family. And tell your agent to submit that with the offer. Now, here's the warning. That doesn't always work. But I'll tell you what, it does mean more to get the letter than to just tell your agent, hey, tell them I'm this, tell them I'm that. Because there's a lot of people just saying something. I had a house on the market the other day, and I had back-to-back, someone called me and said, our buyer is a single mother. And the next person said, my buyer is a widow. So everyone's got something that you can feel for, but what if that person wrote you a personal letter and said, hey, I'm a single mom, I'm a widow, I lost my husband, da-da-da. That actually might mean a little bit more than just trying to throw something out there, which almost seems a little manipulative, or can be. We don't know. So something more meaningful. Now here's another small tip you can use for the altruistic seller. The seller who wants to do good. They really are motivated by helping someone else. What if you ask for certain things in that house? Seem like you really need them, like you really want them. You really need the help. It could be junk. It could be the little end table that clearly the seller looks like they're going to throw away. It doesn't look like anything important. But you say, it's really going to help us out if we could get that end table, or if that raggedy couch. Could you leave that for us? Now the seller says, wow, these people really, this really could help them. I really am in a position to help them. That little table and chairs that I bought at Walmart over there that cost me $100 that I was just going to put out by the dumpster, they asked me for it. They really need this stuff. So the altruistic seller might see that you're asking for things that to them are just junk, but to you it's a treasure. And they say, wow, this is the person who really needs the help, and I can help this person. And now I can live the rest of my life, feeling like I have good vibes coming my way, or whatever they believe in, right? Using assistance programs. That shows that you're in need. I'm getting down payment assistance. I need some extra help from this. Don't be fancy. Don't pull up in a Lamborghini to go look at the house, right? So let's review. We've got different types of motivators, different types of sellers, and we've got to know who the seller is in order to make a strong offer to that seller, because money is not the only motivator. So some of the clauses we can use, again, price, closing costs, bigger down payment, deposit, quicker timelines, how fast are you going to close, how long is your inspection period, how quick are you going to respond to an appraisal, personal property, do I want to ask for things, do I not want to ask for things, right? Any contract extras, hey, can you give me a home warranty, can you throw me a wood destroying insect report? Your agent matters, your lender matters, your letter matters. Showing that you have the money, that your pre-approval is a strong one, those things matter. Resources, personal information, sharing those things. Do I have money to buy this house, or am I in need? Either one can work in your favor, depending on what that seller's motivator is, right? And of course, remember, espionage. Do your research. Find out about that seller beforehand. Read all the information on them. Try to figure out, how long they've owned that house. What does this house really mean to them? So now you have the ammo to go and knock down the bigger opponent. Okay? The bigger offer is not always the best offer. So that's it for today. Tuesday, I'll be doing another video. Let's see, on Tuesday, we're going to talk about for sale by owner versus agent. So Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock, I'll see you guys hopefully back here again. For sale by owner versus agent. Pluses, minus, pros, cons, who wins? Okay? Again, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, @ThatGoodAgent, or you can visit thatgoodagent.com, or YouTube as well, That Good Agent. So contact me for any questions, and I'm more than happy to hook you up with one of our awesome agents in our brokerage. All right? Until next time, later.